the extra time to finish this book. This one was really hard to write because Dresden spends a whole big chunk of it not really able to communicate with very many people, which means I can't write a whole bunch of snappy dialogue, which is, you know, the easiest, funnest part of my job as a writer. There was a lot of description to be written and so on, and that's grindingly slow for me. That was part of it, was getting Dresden out of kind of that quandary. Part of it was actually figuring out, oh, wait a minute, the actual plot that I thought was happening is not exactly the plot that I thought was happening. And that only came together in the last month or so. A lot of it was that this book is longer than most of the other ones. In fact, it's longer than all the previous Dresden Files books. At the end, also life happened. I had my kid move out on me, and all of a sudden I wasn't a full-time dad anymore. That was weird. That was a rebalancing issue to be dealt with. So I mean, there were a bunch of different things, I mean, finally I did get it done. I remember having to call up my editor and say, "This just isn't going to happen." And my editor said, "Jim, you're a creative person. You people are squirrely." and I stopped and thought about that for a minute, and I thought to myself, you know what? Professionally, what I do for a living is to wander around imaginary places that only exist in my head, eavesdropping on conversations between my imaginary friends, and then writing it down. Yeah, no wonder I'm not severely well attached. There might be something to that. But hopefully the next one will come out in much better order. And then I'm working on another fantasy on the side now. I'm taking a break from that George Ray Dresden. I'm tired of him. I'm always tired of him at the end of a book. So it's always great to go somewhere else and play in somebody else's world and play with different imaginary friends. And then eventually I won't be mad at Harry Dresden anymore. And I'll say, "Okay, Harry, I'm not mad at you anymore. Let's put you through another book." And that doesn't seem terribly sincere, does it? I'll have to think about that. Let's see. Back here at the hat.
I'm just wondering what you read for fun. It's kind of obvious what you read for fun.
Okay. Well, I hope you read more widely than just me, because there's so many people out there who are good. Who do I read for fun? And the answer to that is I'm going to give you a bunch of names right now, and then later I'm going to go, "Oh, I should have said this person," and somebody I completely forgot. The late Robert B. Parker, I love his work. I go back and reread the Spencer series at least once a year. Just because for his use of humor and his ability to turn the occasional really great phrase. Let me think. There's a new guy named Harry Connolly who's got 2 books out. I don't know if you've read his series yet. The first one's called Child of Fire. It's actually available for 99 cents if you get the electronic version. So you should go out and secure that because he's a good writer. There's a new guy named Benedict Jacka whose first book is coming out shortly. Sometime, I think, late this year or early next year. It's called Faded. Keep an eye out for that guy. He's good. His name is Benedict Jacka. And he's coming out from Rock. And the editor sent me the book and gave me a synopsis of it. And I went, "Okay, synopsis." And started reading and was like, oh, this is cool. And really, he's one of the best writers I've read in a while. Let's see, I've recently reread the Deed of Paxenarian again, which is a 20-year-old book from Tor. I'm not even sure it's in print at the moment, but she just went back to the world and started writing again as if she hadn't stopped. And I'm like, okay, 3 months is one thing. A 20-year break between book 3 and book 4 seems a little extreme to me. But I'm just happy she's back there writing in that world again now because it's a lot of fun. Let me think who else. I've been reading a lot of Brandon Sanderson lately. Brandon Sanderson and I have very similar ideas and kind of philosophy when it comes to putting together fantasy worlds that actually make sense and where things happen for a good reason. And there's very little of just the pure mysticism happening in the background and inexplicable things. You can get it when it's all done. You can see how it's all put together when it's finished, and I really love Brandon's work for that. I've got Pat Rothfuss's new book. Yeah, I had dinner with Pat at Comic-Con. Pat is the nicest guy. There's a video of him riding the electronic bull at one of the local clubs, which is hilarious. You should see it. But Pat takes himself almost as seriously as I do, so we got along great. We sat down and started talking. But yeah, I read his first book. I've been saving his most recent book. I've been holding it out as my carrot, saying you can read it in your spare time when you're on tour. You know, when you're in the airport and on airplanes and stuff, while you're doing your tour, and that'll be that'll be your prize for getting all this work done that you need to get done. It's like okay. And then I was getting set to go to start the first leg of the tour at Comic-Con, and I packed up my bag, and I'm like, great, I can take Wise Man's Fear with me. Ow! That thing's huge! So he was like, okay, where's my iPad? I'm getting this one electronic because while I do own the low-tech version, which I'll be happy that I have when EMPs go off and the zombie apocalypse begins, because you'll be able to defend yourself with the books at that iPad, that won't drop even a bitty zombie. Copy of, like Name of the Wind, somebody's going to go down. But Pat Rothfuss is another person I enjoy tremendously. There are many other authors. I dug the Harry Potter books, I don't care what anybody says. The Percy Jackson books were extremely well written. I know those are young adult books. I don't care, they were cool. But those are some examples there. So. Right here in blue. What genre would I like to work in that I haven't yet, just due to contracts or time? I've still got a science fiction series that is sort of Men in Black meets X-Men on the moon. I had to go through, it's one of these things that I really researched the heck out of for no real reason, and I had to go through 200 years of future history, just basically in order to be able to call my group of good guys U.S. Marshals. I had to figure out how we could get there and still be able to call them that. That's an actual science fiction series, although it's more space opera than science fiction. Actual science fiction at this point looks so weird in the future. I've actually stopped and started researching, for actual where we're going, reading some actual futurists and so on. There's some spooky stuff coming along, and I don't know if I can have fun writing about that. I mostly want to have a good time. The good part is, though, the positive part is that people are going to be people. I don't care what year we are. We've been pretty solid in terms of what sorts of behaviors we can expect. So I can have a good time with that, no matter where we go. But that would be fun. I think some superhero books might be fun. I think my superheroes would probably have a good time. Wind up using their powers for a bunch of things that nobody ever really thought about before. So